your nose painful? You're right? Oh my god.
I burnt my hair.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, Em. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Can you see it?
It's just got soot.
What do you mean?
It's just got a bit of soot. It's
I
okay.
can't see it from here. I cannot.
I'm sorry. That's hilarious. I can smell it. Is that your hair that I can smell?
Oh yeah, that does smell like burning.
Yeah, that's my hair.
Sorry.
Guys, I literally just fucking burnt my hair getting prepared for this video on that motherfucking candle.
The things we do
it
for the
burnt my
aesthetic.
hair.
So dope. Yeah, I never
almost
knew
was
what that
bald.
smelled like.
I
until
could have been
now.
bald in this moment.
Thank God you're not.
This has truly been a long time coming.
You don't understand how long we've been waiting to talk to you today about
Peter! Oh, we had to save one of the best to last.
We did. We got so many of our favourites out of the way at the beginning, and then we were always like, let's hold on to Peter. Let's hold on to Peter, because it does kind of have a lot of closure in it in a way, and it does feel like something that should be talked about more towards the end of these breakdowns. But also just because it is one of our absolute favourites on the album, and
I think it's
so
also
excited.
one of your absolute favourites. I think this is an absolute crowd favourite.
Do you think? I would love to know, actually, because
that's my impression.
I feel like I hear mixed reviews. Like, some people just do not get it and do not care about it, and then if you do get it, you absolutely love it.
So like, there are Taylor Swift songs where if someone's like, I don't know if I like fully get it, like it's not my favorite, whatever, I can be like, I get that. Like, I understand. It's not for everyone. This song is not one of those songs. I don't get how you can't love this song.
Me either. I hear some people say like, oh, it's like a child song, like they put it in the Robin category or something, and I'm like, it's not a child song. What? Just because it's about Peter Pan or referencing the metaphor of Peter? No.
This is such an offensive song. It sounds so superior. It's obviously a waltz. So it's kind of like, I mean, you know this kind of music theory stuff better than me from your dancing days, but it's like a 3...
It's a 3/4.
Thank you, a 3/4.
Yes. So instead of being
really
like 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 in 4 lots.
Yeah.
So it still makes a 4 count.
Yes. Offensive.
That kind of music has... I mean, it's a waltz. It has an energy about it that's very emotional, in my opinion. Like it sweeps you. It sweeps you.
Yeah, it does.
And it lifts you and it carries you, and it's so magical.
Yeah, it really is. And I think tying into the magic is the fact that we've got this Peter Pan reference throughout the entire song. And what's so amazing about it is that obviously it is a metaphor for Taylor. So the Peter Pan that is discussed in this song is obviously not Peter Pan. It's not just a song about Peter from Peter Pan. It's not just a song about Wendy from Peter Pan.
No.
It's about her and her experience in a relationship and how this ties in to that story so well. And we love it when Mother comes up with an absolutely offensive metaphor. The fact that she was able to tie so many elements of this story into her own experience is a fucked up thing to do.
And she does that a lot. She's really done it a lot all of her career, but especially since Folklore and Evermore, and a lot on this album, even with songs like Cassandra. And she loves to kind of take something that's already legendary and then kind of relate her own experience to it, because I think that adds layers of emotion and layers of understanding what it means. It hits hard.
I think it also just adds to the fact that so many of her songs, especially the ones that do this, have this classic timeless feel to them. Like, a song like this will age so well because it's rooted in a story that everybody knows. And also, I think it sounds that way as well. There's nothing outrageous about its production or the choice of instruments or sound. It has a classic sound to it.
The waltzing piano, like, you can never get over a sound like that. Aaron, the things you have done for us, Father Aaron, we do not forget about you.
We do love you, Father Aaron.
We love you so much for this sound. I would love to know how this song came to be, whether or not you know, it was Taylor playing around and then sending that to Aaron, whether or not he sent her this beautiful track and she just wrote to it, because that's, I feel like that might be it. You know, sometimes like songs like Cardigan, songs like Peter, like you feel like the magic just kind of came to her when she heard this sound.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a Folklore-esque song where Aaron had already kind of created this song and she's just kind of filled in those lyrics with whatever inspiration came to her in the
can you
moment.
believe she just writes things over these sounds?
No,
because it's just,
I can't.
It's just not obvious, the
No,
things
it's
that
not.
she could say.
Can we talk about how
And she
the
said
first
this.
time that she ever did that was with I Wish You Would?
Jack Antonoff.
But like,
I wish you would, yeah.
This all goes back to 1989. Her writing to track goes back to
Yeah.
the classic album 1989,
Yeah.
and we love to know that.
Well, yeah, it's amazing that the first and really the only people she's ever written to track with, there might be some exceptions that we're forgetting about, is Jack and Aaron, and they're her long-term collaborators. It's like they just make magic. I'll never forget when Aaron released like his original song to Invisible String, and that the melodies were just, it's a different song.
It's a different song.
On less than an aftertaste, it's personal for a change, and then the leader remains anonymous. We all could just be dead.
She heard that and sung Invisible String, and Aaron was like, what? What?
No, I actually think to this day Aaron is so fucked up.
Aaron's
like
gotta be fucked
I
up. He's
don't
gotta be
think
fucked
that
up.
he doesn't know what he's just walked into.
I agree.
He's definitely
He's
still fathoming Taylor
years.
Swift, and he's
Yeah.
just like, I don't understand how you can do that.
Anyway, we simply got to listen to Peter,
Yeah,
I
let's
think.
have a listen.
Yeah. Classic Aaron intro there with that sound.
Truly.
Forgive me, Peter, my lost fearless leader, in closets like cedar, preserved from when we were just kids. Is it something I did? The goddess of timing once found us beguiling. She said she was trying. Peter, was she lying? My ribs get the feeling she did.
Oh my god. This first verse is just deeply, deeply superior. Some of the most superior lyrics she's ever written, dare I say. Dare I say.
I honestly think that this song, throughout the entire song, is just truly one of the most poetic ones she's ever
Yeah,
written.
yeah.
The way that she's stringing these words together and the specific imagery that you get with the things that she's saying is so fucked up, and I think it adds to this like classic timeless feel to a song like this. It's so offensive.
I completely agree.
Forgive me, Peter, my lost fearless leader, in closets like cedar, preserved from when we were just kids. Is it something I did?
I love that she's starting this song with "Forgive me." I find that so interesting, considering I feel like the theme of this song is very much saying that she is going to move on from this person, you know, that she is
Yeah.
going to let them go, or that maybe at this point in the song is asking for forgiveness for this lost time,
Yeah.
or that she's let him go a little
Yeah.
bit.
She's almost kind of asking for forgiveness because there's been some sort of a promise made between them that one day this is going to work out.
Yeah.
And she's coming to terms with the fact that this relationship will actually not work out, and
Yeah.
I need to go and find something else.
She's saying so much in these lyrics, but it really comes down to her saying like, forgive me for this lost time. Is it something I did? But the way she's saying it is giving us so much insight into like how she views him as well. Like, forgive
Yeah.
me, Peter, my lost, fearless leader. Oh my god, those three words strung together, like lost because she no longer has that contact with him, and he's a bit of a lost boy, which is Peter
Yep.
Pan, you know,
Yep.
never has his feet on the ground,
Yep.
is always kind of off doing things, which, you know, very much recalls to like the Maddie Healy kind of situation, maybe
Yeah.
these years where they were not talking and he felt lost to her. Fearless leader, like how she kind of might see him in those positive lights, and that's very much Peter Pan as well. You know, he is a leader. He's pulling Wendy and others to go on adventures with him.
I think what's funny as well is that you kind of, as the song goes on, learn that maybe she doesn't actually really see him this way anymore. It's
Totally.
like, this is how I thought of you.
Yeah.
And now that I can see that you're kind of never coming back to me, I have to break this promise that I made to
Yeah.
you of being with you, because you aren't serving me anymore. You aren't really leading me
Yes.
anymore. There's nothing left here.
Yeah, it's like you can see Peter Pan in so many different ways. You can see him as such a little shit, really. But you can also see him in this light, and I think that she is choosing in this song to mostly tap into those positives in kind of a longing, nostalgic, beautiful way, even though at the end she's kind of saying maybe not. Yeah, it's almost like, which we can get into as the song goes on, but it's almost like she's got no choice.
There's no choice.
But to give up on him, which is why starting the song with "Forgive Me," it's beautiful because it does show that she is feeling something about that. You know, she does feel. It's complex. This song is so complex, which is why I feel like it resonates. I feel like it's a relatable concept because of how much you can take from this song.
Totally, because it is a little sad, but it's not quite sad. There's also an acceptance of the situation in this. There's also maybe some mild frustration or anger at like the fact that he hasn't performed in a way that means she can keep her promise to him and herself. And there's a lot of layered emotions in this song.
I would say it is a sad song for me. Like, this is one of the ones that also will bring me to tears quite often, but I don't know if that's because it personally does hit me quite hard. Like, there is a situation in my life that I feel like I can relate this to. Yeah. So I think it just brings up those emotions, which can happen with any of Taylor's songs, obviously. Totally. But you're right. I think that there's a melancholiness, and there's a lot of different emotions that you can tap into depending on what sad. You need. Yeah.
It's not just like pure heartbreak.
No,
it's
agree.
like, no, I understand that this is what I have to do,
but
and
I think
I've accepted that.
Makes it so sad almost. It's like, I wanted to be with you, but you've given me no choice but to be like this. And I think that there's a sadness in that. But anyway, we'll continue on because there's so many.
We will continue on.
What do you get from "In Closets Like Cedar," preserved from when we were just kids? Do you think just like locked away kind of in a closet, like from the past? Because I kind of get like when she talks about like in the vault, like in the past, like locked in a closet, like it's kind of been put away.
Yeah, well, I think that if you were to connect this story to what she's experienced with Maddie Healy, and I guess some of the assumptions we're all making about the fact that they have known each other for many, many years, and maybe there's been an on and off, or maybe even a promise made when they were younger, thinking that maybe it would work out between them when they're older. It's like our relationship, or the possibility of us, has been preserved in this closet like cedar. Like we've locked away the romantic love between us in this closet. We're preserving it for later on. That was the promise we made. One day this could work for us.
Yeah. Oh my God. Fathoming alert. Guys, stop what you're doing. No. As I've been editing this, I was thinking about this lyric and it hit me. Oh my God, of course, this is a reference to Narnia. So not only is she talking about Peter Pan, but of course, one of the kids in Narnia is called Peter. So she's using both of these magical stories of lands that are far away as metaphors in this song, because Peter was lost. He was a lost, fearless leader, and he was lost in closets like cedar, in a closet to go to Narnia, preserved in Narnia, because in Narnia time is different, and he lives all of these lives in Narnia in just 1 year in Earth time. So that also falls into the next lyric about the timing being off, because they're simply living in two different worlds where time is different. Oh my God, I just called Emily because we're having a full moment break. Like, what? Having a breakdown over this. I cannot believe. Of course it's a Narnia reference. Oh my God, it's genius. Lost, fearless leader in closets like cedar. That rhyme?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I think the choice of the word preserved when we were just kids is so perfect, because she's clearly tying this into the Peter Pan story, because they are children in that story. But I think in her own life, I think that as you get older, you can look back at a version of yourself even from like your early 20s. Like, I look at a 21-year-old version of myself, just a 23-year-old. I was a kid then.
I think especially in relation to like looking back onto why a relationship didn't work out or whatever. Like, it's really common to be like, oh, we were just kids. Like,
we were just young.
You can't blame anything but the fact that we were young. Like, I feel like that happens so many times. People are like, oh, why didn't it work out with so-and-so or this person or that person? We were just too
I honestly
young.
think that that's such a universal experience as well. Unless you've been with somebody since you were teenagers and you're still in that relationship into adulthood, I think that most people can look back on their earliest relationships and be like, that didn't work out because we were children. We didn't know any better. We didn't have the tools to make this work.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that is the core of what makes that sad in a way, is like, I think everyone can relate to kind of looking back to relationships in the early 20s and being like, what went wrong? Or like, how did we lose ourselves? Or like, I was just too young to really know how to make that work. And I think that's where that sadness kind of comes from, letting something go like that, because you can never get that back.
Totally.
In that way.
Yeah, totally.
It's just,
100%.
you have to move on.
Totally. And then I think rounding out just that section of the verse with, is it something I did? I think it is a moment to pause and have herself consider, like, maybe something I've done does have a role to play in your continued immaturity, in your lack of ability to be the man that I thought you'd grow into. Like, she's trying to question if there is some
fault of her own.
Yeah, some fault, yeah.
Well, I guess that's why that lyric ties so nicely to "Forgive me, Peter," and then was it something I did? Like, you could just take those two lyrics together to make sense of what she's saying.
Yes.
The other two lines are details about that lost promise and the fact that he is a lost, fearless leader, you know, the fact that he has that energy about him is kind of why, in a way, that time was lost and those promises were preserved. Yeah. It's so clever, actually, the way that she's wrapping up that question to herself, reflecting on, why that time was lost, why it didn't work out.
She's searching for some accountability that she could take on her part. But I think, again, as the song goes on, we learn that there actually maybe isn't a lot of accountability for her to take.
Yes. Well, I love that, because that's that story progression. We start with questioning ourselves. Was it something I did?
Yeah. Could I have done something different to have made this
so
work?
sad. I have to let this go. And then as the song goes on, she's like, actually,
no.
You kind of fucking fucked me up a bit there.
Exactly.
I'm so sorry. We've literally talked about 4 lines.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm deeply unwell. This might be our longest breakdown yet.
No, it's so fucked up. No, these next lyrics are actually fucked up. How she strung these words together makes me ill, because she's actually saying one thing with all of the lines and it's absolutely illning. The goddess of timing once found us beguiling. She said she was trying. Peter, was she lying? My ribs get the feeling she did.
No, this, every time, this takes the wind out of me.
Truly.
These lyrics. I just cannot believe it.
Timing, beguiling, trying, lying. How did she even think to rhyme those words together in that way?
Beguiling.
No.
Can you please get a definition up? Because I actually, like, I know what it means, but I need to know the exact words.
Yeah, I need to know how they...
To me, it's giving, like, it's beguiling, like it's confusing, you know?
Beguiling, charming or enchanting, often in a deceptive way. Which is so interesting as well, because I think that when you think about a promise made between two young adults that sort of want this relationship to work out in the future, it's like, it is full of like hope and lustfulness and that enchantment. There's this magic about
it. The Peter Pan charm as well. Like he's so likable, even though he's deceiving. He's so, he can't help but love him, even though he's a little shit.
Yeah. Yes.
Beguiling. That is such a little perfect word.
It really is. It really is.
She always knows the perfect word.
But essentially, all she's really saying here is this time didn't work out for us, or this time that has passed hasn't led us anywhere. And I have to start coming to the terms with the fact that, like, maybe it was never going to work out for us. Yeah. Essentially.
She's saying essentially that the timing was always wrong.
Yeah.
But did the goddess of timing, it's almost like out of their control. It's fate. The goddess of timing, something else is controlling this because we can't make it work. So it's got to be the fate. It's got to be the world.
It's such beautiful imagery. It reminds me of like mythology, like Greek or Roman mythology, where it's like, you know, in these polytheistic religions, there's a god for all of these very natural forces, and time is one of those things. And she's sort of just attributing this one time, the issue of time between us and how it was never going to work out, to a goddess.
And then continuing that by saying, she said she was trying. Peter, was she lying? My ribs get the feeling she did, like the gut feeling.
Yeah. I am learning now that this may never work out. The time may never be right for us.
I can't talk about these lyrics. Like,
no, it's
if
fucked
you
up.
want me to explain them, I don't know what to say to you because. Listen, listen. I can't put these into other words because Taylor Swift did it so perfectly. Fuck off. I need to move on.
And I didn't wanna calm down. I thought it was just goodbye for now.
Just a really quick little pre-chorus to kind of wrap that whole theme up. I didn't want to come down. I thought it was just goodbye for now. I love the come down because I feel like that really relates to Peter Pan flying and almost like coming down was coming back to reality, which is very tying into Down Bad, actually.
Yeah.
And just the whole concept that their relationship was like this dream.
Yes.
That they were holding on to, that she was holding on to. She didn't want to come back to reality and let go of that.
Yeah.
Because she thought it was just goodbye for now. She thought one day those promises would eventuate into something real.
Yeah.
You said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me. Said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me. Said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me. Words from the mouths of babes, promises, oceans deep, but never to keep. Never to keep.
Oh my god. There's something about the tone of her voice in this song that I absolutely love. It's like a little bit of that lower register, but there's such a softness. I love her fucking voice. We don't talk about this enough.
Yeah, her voice is actually perfect.
People that say that Taylor can't sing, do you have ears, is what I want to know. And yes, maybe it's not belting. We talk about this all the time, the fancy notes or whatever, but the tone of her voice is so comforting. It's so beautiful. It's perfect.
so normal in a beautiful way.
It's normal, but like, I can't sound like that. You know?
Yeah, totally.
And like, most people can't sound like that, but it sounds effortless. And it sounds normal. It's so, you never tire of it, and that's something I love about it. I mean, some people might. I personally could never.
No, her voice is the most comforting thing in the world. This chorus, what I love about this song is that, as we've spoken about many times before, she seems to have this perfect ability is when she's telling a very complex story and there's a lot of it, like with a long ranty bridge and things like that. Yeah. She has a really good way of making the chorus concise. Yes. And I think that this chorus isn't necessarily short, but it is quite repetitive. Yeah. And I think that that really serves its purpose in this song because it's just reiterating this point over and over and over again of actually the main issue between us and why this won't work. And that's all she needs to say in this chorus because the rest of the story is built around it.
Yes, and the verses are so complex and beautiful in their words and the poetry and everything. So you're right. She always knows how to balance a song so perfectly. I mean, like Out of the Woods has a similar way of doing that because with the repetition in Out of the Woods, it's like that anxiety of, are they out of the woods yet? And this is kind of that repetition to symbolize, that hope that she was hanging on to. You said you were going to grow up, then you were going to come find me. Like that is an empty promise that never happened. Of course she has to repeat it and make sense of it.
Yeah. Just like reminding him, this is what you said to me and you never followed through and you still haven't grown up. You're still off in fucking Neverland.
Yeah, literally.
What are you doing, bro?
What are you doing,
We should have been right here in this moment. So yes, you said you were going to grow up, then you were going to come find me. And she obviously repeats this a few times. And then the way that she ends this chorus is obviously so fucked up as well because the words help. Words from the mouths of babes, promises oceans deep, but never to keep. I'm sorry. How does she think to say that?
I know.
We've got this reiteration of this promise between children made that could go nowhere. It's clearly gone nowhere. It's clearly gone nowhere.
Yeah, you know, I think that took me a second to realize what she was saying with the babes, the plural. Yeah. Because I was like, why is it not from the words from babes like mouth instead of the mouths of babes?
Yeah.
Yeah, like one babe, but it's because it's their two mouths of them being babes, like babies, kids.
Yes.
Young promises, essentially.
Yeah. Promises oceans deep. Like, she's telling us the magnitude of this promise that was made to each other, how serious this was, at least for her. I mean, we only really have her perspective in this song. So for her, when she made this promise to him, she's telling us that he made the same promise. Maybe in some ways she's saying maybe this did mean something different to you, because it clearly hasn't been important enough for you to keep that you actually do grow up and become the man I need you to be to make this work. Not only have you broken your promise because you didn't grow up and come and find me, but I have to break my promise to you because of the fact that you haven't done that.
Yeah.
And it is interesting, again, linking it back to this Maddie Healy story, if we had to do that, because obviously they did try and rekindle things, but I think the issue is that he didn't grow up.
Yeah.
You know, it's like she's probably felt like, this is finally our time. If it's ever going to work, now it's now or never. And they gave it a shot, and he did nothing but let her down. He proved to her in a matter of just a few short weeks that he hadn't grown into what she needed from him. And she was like, well, I can't wait around forever.
Yeah, you're not grown up. You're still that young boy.
Yeah.
You're still that young boy. You're never going to get out of Neverland.
Yeah.
I love that she repeats, oh, never to keep. Like, it's just that extra devastating little jab after the space of the music. Like, it's so beautiful. And I think it is the way she sings this chorus. I mean, like we said, we already said that waltz is offensive, but to me, the way she's singing it also kind of has these slight inflections, like, said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me, said you were gonna, but then the second one is said you were gonna grow up. But it's like, it's different, you know.
Yeah.
She goes up and then she kind of goes to the side. I don't know how to explain it. To me, in my head, that makes sense because it's moving in such an effortless way. It's going from one, it's just...
Even the way that she says then you were going to come find me, like the first time she goes, then you were going to come find me, and it's just quite quickly. And then the second one is, then you were going to come find me. Like, why does she...
It
Thank you for that change.
Like, it's just... part of her breath, part of her...
Yeah.
It's coming out of her, it's spilling out of her. No. I love it so much.
Are you still a mind reader, a natural scene stealer? I've heard great things, Peter, but life was always easier on you than it was on me. And sometimes it gets me when crossing your jet stream. We both did the best we could do underneath the same moon in different galaxies.
Are you still a mind reader, a natural scene stealer? I mean, that really ties nicely to those lyrics we got in the first verse, a fearless leader, Peter Pan. It felt like he could read her mind because they were so similar.
Yeah.
But then also stole the show everywhere he went, or was very charming.
I really do love Are You Still a Mind Reader? For me, it links back perfectly to the Torture Poets department, where she's kind of just repeatedly saying, we get each other so intrinsically. If you leave me, who's going to know you like me? Who's going to love you like me? Like, I thought this would work.
Yes.
Because we just see each other so
yeah,
well.
how do you not get that this is what I want as well? Like, how do you not know to come back and be what I wanted you to be when you... Because are you still a mind reader like you were back then?
And it really does feel like these first lines are almost kind of like maybe written in that in-between period where maybe they're going off and having other relationships and not actually together. Like, I've heard great things, Peter. It's like, I've heard this about you. It's not that I know this about you right now. I believe in this promise that we've made to one another, but right now we know we're not ready for each other yet. You're living your life, I'm living mine. Yep. But I'm hearing good things. I'm hearing promising things about what you're doing.
I would love to know when this song was written, because I think that as we get towards the end, it does feel like this was written, you know, after they tried again and
I agree.
Everything was done. But you guys really fucked us up when you said that you think that Chloe or Sam was written just before they got back together. Yeah. And I do wonder. I feel like there is a small potential because she might have still felt then, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going back to Joe. I'm really committing to Joe. I'm turning out the light on that. I feel like there is a chance that she still had that longing happening there and it could have been written around that time. But I like to think of it as being a final closer.
Yeah, and I think that it's positioned right towards the end of the track list kind of makes me feel like you know, we're getting to like a processing, a healing phase of this entire dynamic where it's like, I can turn out the light, I can let this go, and I know that it's for the best in a way.
And
I
maybe
think
even
as
like
well,
that anger has settled and now she's been able to get to this point.
Yes, and I think as well, like with this narrative of him ghosting her that we hear about in other lyrics on this album, I think that like that's quite childish behavior. To me, that kind of links in nicely with this idea of like, you didn't ever grow up.
On the lyric, I've heard great things, Peter, and then following it with, but life was always easier on you than it was on me. I wonder as well if that's kind of calling to like, she hears his music, she hears how great he's doing in the music world, but life was always easier on him, as in like he could kind of do what he wanted to do and he didn't get slut shamed like she did. Or maybe she felt like the spotlight was easier for him than it was for her.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I've taken that lyric always to be kind of like from like a kind of like, I guess like a feminist sort of misogynistic kind of angle where like life is easier for men than it is for women. But the both of them being in the music industry, definitely that element of it. Like you have not even remotely had to deal with the things in being a musician that I have had to deal with because I'm a woman and am treated differently because of that.
Totally. And I guess even just like you said, just in general, for like a non-famous person, I think it's also really relatable because this Peter Pan character is obviously a boy who just goes and does whatever he wants, doesn't really think of consequences, lives his life up here in the clouds. And I feel like the woman in this song is like, I've been trying really hard and I've been doing all the things right, and it feels like you just keep getting away with things regardless. Everyone loves you, everyone thinks you're amazing, and it feels like it's so much harder for me.
It also is kind of maybe a moment of her actually questioning if the great things that she's hearing about him are true. It's like, I've heard great things, but I don't know if I can trust these stories because of course people are going to say great things about you. You're a man.
True.
In
Life's
the
always
music
been
industry.
easier, as in, people just see you good. Yeah, it might seem like you're this really great guy from the outside, and maybe that does give me hope that you'll come back to me one day and that you'll actually commit to those promises, but I don't really know that for a fact.
Yeah, like I'd need to see it to believe it with my own eyes and experience with you.
And I love the way that melody goes there. But life was always easier on you than it was on me. It's so pretty.
It's so fun. And this whole song is so pretty. The melodies are so pretty.
It just has a feeling. It gives the feel. I love the feels. It makes me feel so much. This song.
And sometimes it gets me when crossing your jet stream. We both did the best we could do underneath the same moon in different galaxies.
I love this lyric, and sometimes it gets me when crossing your jet stream, because we've talked about this lyric quite a lot, like trying to make sense of how we feel about it, and we've kind of come to the conclusion that we feel like it's like a jet stream is someone kind of zooming through, and it creates noise, it creates motion, it creates a bit of disturbance.
Like a bit of chaos.
And it kind of, you can get swept up in it, right?
Totally.
So it feels like sometimes when he's kind of passing through or coming into her life for a little bit, it's like she gets
me away.
Yes, he sweeps her away. But I love the way she's written it, because it can kind of be positive or negative. Like she can either get swept up in him a little bit, or he kind of disrupts and throws everything off, and she doesn't know what's what. Like all of a sudden you talk to him again and you don't know all of a sudden how you feel. Like I've definitely relate to that feeling. Of it just being kind of a bit chaotic and it throwing you off a little bit, especially if you still have like a relationship with someone that you used to be with, but it's not romantic anymore. They kind of can test the waters in that way, like just throw something out there every now and then. You're like, well, I didn't know you felt like that. Whoa, what's happening?
That does create a bit of chaos in your life for a while, because you're just like, what?
Okay, also I googled jet stream, and Wikipedia is saying jet streams are fast-flowing narrow air currents in the Earth's atmosphere, which is so fascinating because I was picturing like a jet with like a stream coming out of it, but this is actually what impacts the Earth's weather patterns. And it's kind of a lot for her to use that metaphor, if that's what she means, to compare how he affects her world, and when she crosses those jet streams, what she feels and how it might throw her. It's such a good metaphor. And also I wonder if it links to Peter Pan at all, because it's saying here that like planes use the jet streams to travel faster, and obviously Peter Pan flies around the world, so you know, it could be a reference to that flying as well. It could just be crossing paths in general, like my plane crossing your jet stream, like I've just missed you, like.
And I think that probably would have happened to them a lot of times throughout their knowing one another. It's like, again, they know it's maybe not the right time, but they're going to bump into each other. They're still kind of friendly with each other, running in the same circles, knowing that there's something between us, but maybe not feeling like it's right to act on it, or just knowing that we're on completely different pages and it would never work, which I think is what she's trying to say with underneath the same moon in different galaxies. It's like we're just so not on the same page every time we do cross each other's jet stream. That it's like we're never going to make it work like that.
Yeah, totally.
And now I'm coming to terms with the fact that we will never make it work.
Well, I love how it starts with, and sometimes it gets me, you know, like I feel like that's her saying, like, sometimes it hurts me, sometimes it hits me. When we constantly miss each other, because I feel like it's never actually gonna happen.
True.
But there is something about this lyric that annoys me, because if you're in different galaxies, you wouldn't be under the same moon.
Yeah.
It's so rare that a Taylor Swift lyric doesn't make logical sense to me.
I think for me, I just take it as it's not meant to make logical sense. I think that's the point. It's like there's something working between us, which is like us being under the same moon, like we're actually quite connected, we're on the earth together, but we're actually on completely different galaxies. We're so not what each other needs.
Well, because the moon rules the ocean, but also the emotions, right? So it could be something to do with that as well. I'd love to know what Genius says about it.
I think that it kind of also, like you said before, reminds me of Down Bad, like being taken away in like an alien ship. But I think that there might be a reference to the Peter Pan story in this, because Neverland is not on Earth.
Peter and Wendy come from different worlds, Neverland and London, and yet are connected by the same sky. That metaphor for how different their lives are, even though they're kind of ruled by the same emotions or the same feelings.
Yes. And that's actually an interesting way of thinking of it too, kind of like in that astrological kind of sense, where it's like, oh, you know, you've got a moon sign and all of that kind of thing. It's like, like we are ruled by the same emotions.
Oh my God, wait, can you imagine if they have the same moon sign?
Oh my God.
What's Taylor's moon? No.
That's right, we do have the same moon. I'm a Cancer moon as well.
Maddie, you do, that's right. That was disappointing because Maddie Healy's a Taurus moon. So he's a Taurus moon and Taurus rising. That's why he kind of gives wholesome energy, but he's actually fucking chaotic.
Yeah.
Don't trick me with that Taurus moon and that Taurus rising.
No.
You've got that Aries sun waiting to burn me. No offense to Aries, love you guys.
So funny.
And I didn't wanna hang around. We said it was just goodbye for now. You said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me.
So this pre-chorus is slightly different to the first one, but it's kind of, you know, giving a similar message.
Yeah.
However, she does kind of double down by saying, we said it was just goodbye for now. Whereas the first one, she says, I thought it was just goodbye for now. So she's kind of doubling down on that promise that was actually made between the two of them.
And that does feel like it adds to the progression in this story as she unravels the fact that maybe there is nothing on her end that is to blame or take accountability for, and it does kind of lie in him. It's like, starting with, I thought it was just goodbye for now. It's like, oh, like maybe I just thought wrong. And it's like, no, we said it was just goodbye for now. Like there was a promise made here, which you were also not upholding. And that actually makes me frustrated, sad, whatever. It's like, it is kind of forcing the blame back onto his part, because like you actually said something to me.
Totally. And then also she changes that first lyric to, I didn't want to hang around. Like she's kind of just saying, I don't want to wait for you. I don't want to just be waiting around for you to come back down to earth, for you to come back from Neverland.
I am going to go and live my life. I'm going to date other people. I'm going to see other people. Like I'm not going to put my life on hold. I'm not just going to hang around for you. I'm going to go and live my life and hope that the promise that we make will one day eventuate just naturally, because we both have this faith in the fact that it will work.
What am I meant to do? I can't just hang around and wait for you.
This bridge is actually...
It's too good.
one of the best she's ever written in her whole life.
It's so good.
This bridge is not okay.
It's not okay.
but never to keep. Never to keep. And I won't confess that I waited, but I let the lamp burn as the men masqueraded. I hoped you'd return with your feet on the ground. Tell me all that you've learned, 'cause love's never lost when perspective is earned. And you said you'd come and get me, but you were 25 and the shelf life of those fantasies has expired. Lost to the lost boys chapter of your life. Forgive me, Peter, please know that I tried to hold on to the days when you were mine. But the woman who sits by the window has turned out the light.
Holy shit!
It's so good. She really gets into it here, and I feel like there's some anger in the way that she delivers some of these lines as well. Like she's really, and I won't confess that I waited, but I let the lamp burn.
No. I won't confess that I waited is just so interesting, because she's like, I'm not going to sit around and say I did wait for you, but I let the lamp burn. And that is that direct reference to leaving the light on in the house, which is what Wendy does for Peter to return to her. So it's like that metaphorical light was always on for him.
Yeah.
Even though she's like, I was with other people.
Yeah. Which is literally what she says, as the
line.
men masqueraded, I hoped you'd return. And that's so interesting too, the men masquerading. It's like men who maybe aren't fully opening themselves up to me, really being themselves. They've got a mask on. They're not really even maybe masquerading as the one for me, but you were the one for me, actually.
Yeah,
and
that's what I can say.
You'd return.
As the men masqueraded is one of the most fucked up things she's ever said, I feel. Like, I think that it's so insightful to how she might have felt about these other relationships.
She's literally telling us that every other relationship she's had, he was in the back of her mind. Yeah. And that's a lot.
It is a lot.
That's a lot.
Men masqueraded.
And it does really feel like it ties into, I keep these longings locked in lowercase inside a vault.
Yeah. Swirled you into all of my poems.
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't inspiration from this man come up in songs over the years when she's literally telling us that the light's been on for him this entire time?
I do feel like we need to talk about Cardigan in reference to this song as well, especially the bridge and the bridge in Cardigan, because this whole song is that metaphor of Peter and Wendy, and then in Cardigan she says, Peter losing Wendy.
Yes.
I knew you'd linger like a tattooed kiss. I knew you'd haunt all of my what ifs. Like that whole outro.
I mean, I knew you'd miss me once the thrill expired and you'd be standing in my front porch light. And Cardigan is the song that she did that silly little mouthing thing on stage on the Eras tour, which is exactly the same thing that Maddie did at one of his shows. The connections back to Cardigan. And I mean, honestly, like
Betty
as well. Yeah. Like it does feel.
Well, yeah, he showed up at a party on her front porch. Yeah. Front porch.
Yeah.
Hoping that's her daydream.
That's her
honestly,
daydream.
Betty is her whole daydream about hoping he'd come and apologize and take accountability. And in Peter, she's saying, "You said you were going to grow up and you would come find me." Literally, the light is on. The front porch light is there, waiting for you to show up and actually take some accountability and say sorry and be the man I want you to be. That's a lot, actually. I'd hoped you've returned with your feet on the ground. Tell me all that you've learned. This lyric, oh my God, I love that. Obviously, Peter Pan flying around, but she wanted him to come back to earth, be grounded, be real. And even the generosity in this lyric, tell me all that you've learned, because she's willing to almost learn from him and hear about his adventures and his experience, which does follow into that next lyric, because love's never lost when perspective is earned. Almost like it would be worth it if you had learnt all of these amazing, great lessons and you were coming back to share them with me.
It is this link into him needing to grow up. It's like, if you had actually done that and matured, you would have all of these life lessons to come back and share with me, and that would make us feel connected, and that would make it feel right. The time is finally right for us to actually be together. You grew into a man who had learned from his experiences and his past mistakes and all of that. And you could bring them to me, the one true person for you. And of course then, love's never lost when perspective is earned. We went away, we made this promise, we went away, we both gained perspective through life and experience, and we came back together in love.
Yes.
How could the love that we wanted 10 years ago, that we promised to come back to, be lost if we had gained life experience out of that and then made our relationship better for it?
Totally. That is one of my favorite lyrics she's ever written, because love's never lost when perspective is earned. How true it is that maybe sometimes you can move away from someone to learn things about life. And the value that adds, like you just said. I think that that's such a beautiful way of viewing it.
The next line is actually where it kind of shifts, and we finally start getting the how she sort of feels today rather than the hopefulness of the past.
Yeah.
You said you'd come and get me, but you were 25, and the shelf life of those fantasies has expired. I mean, again, it's like you said you'd grow up, then you'd come find me. But also, like, the you were 25 is the linking back into the we were children, we were babes when we made this promise to each other. That is actually the crux of this song. We cannot keep living in this fantasy world where this promise we made to each other actually has some reality to it anymore. Like, this is not going to work for us.
Like you said about it shifting there, I think it's interesting because the melody shifts, or the way she's singing shifts. Like, and you said you'd come and get me, but like she's really kind of like going up, and it's like feeling exhausted there, which
and
is
feels angry and frustrated.
Yes. The shelf life of those fantasies has expired is just deeply concerning lyric. I just don't know how she wrote that. Like, the shelf life of like a fucking milk in your fridge or some shit. She's comparing to the fantasies of their dream, that longing, which is just the theme on this album so much that they're holding on to.
I wonder if that also connects back to Put Me Back on My Shelf.
I was thinking that.
My Boy Only Breaks His Favourite Toys. I think that is an interesting connection there, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's intentional. Because obviously in that song, it's like she's still clinging to that hope. So it's like, you know, put me back on my shelf where I'll wait for you to be right. And now she's saying, no, the shelf life has expired. These are fantasies. They're not real. Lost to the Lost Boys chapter of your life. You never grew up. You're literally still behaving the way that you did at 25 when you made these promises to me. And you were lost to that. Like, I actually have gotten to a point now where 10 years on, I see so little growth and maturity in you that I actually think that you're a lost cause.
Literally.
You will be like that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I love it because it is that direct link to Peter Pan, the Lost Boys. But also, I didn't know this, Maddie Healy has a song called Lost Boys.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
I feel like in a way she's saying as well, like, lost to the Lost Boys chapter of your life. Like, we were lost to you being in a band and just tearing up the world as a rock star with your boys. But I also think it's a really relatable lyric for people in general, and like boys in their 20s. I think that a lot of women feel like they maybe found someone that they really love, but they weren't ready to settle down yet, like the man, and they wanted to explore and party and, you know, go out with the boys or do whatever. And I feel like when they're young, they can just get carried away with that.
And then she says, forgive me again. Oh, I actually don't know if I fully, like, obviously I know the lyrics of this song, but I've never processed that she's saying that again, like the very first line.
Forgive me, Peter, please know that I tried. Oh, I love the way this changes here as well. To hold on to the days when you were mine. Oh, I love that, because it does actually, she kind of says, you know, forgive me, Peter, and she says that at the beginning about, you know, they're preserved in this closet, but she's really spelling it out here. Like, that's actually what she was saying in the first verse as well, but she's tying it back because it hits harder now that we know all of this information, just repeating it.
Well, because the days when you were mine are those memories preserved in the closet like cedar. So it is really the same thing. It's like, I tried to hold on to this, But the woman, not the girl, I have grown and matured so far beyond what you have in the last 10 years. The woman who sits by the window has turned out the light. I have done so much growing that I can see that this and you and our promise does not and will not serve me any longer.
Yeah, I'm not
I've
a girl
grown from
who
a girl.
will fall for that anymore,
Yeah.
or will hold on to that longing and maybe be tempted by that charming, childlike energy of yours that I held on to for so long.
Yeah.
I know better.
Yeah. And so the juxtaposition between her being a woman and him being a lost boy, it really emphasizes the reason behind this not working anymore. And obviously as well, that last line, has turned out the light, is again that reference to like the cardigan, you'd be standing in my front porch light. No, I've turned off the light now.
And the Wendy, waiting for Peter Pan. And I love it because she does say that like that lamp was on at the beginning of the bridge, and that's like before, you know, she went through this time. It's like really we're traveling through their whole relationship kind of in this bridge.
Yeah, totally. 100%. Yeah. I will no longer leave the light on for you. And this is a big deal. Like that, I think that that's why this song is so emotional, because she's really telling us that like, I've kept that light on for you as I dated all of these men. You've always been in the back of my mind, maybe the real one for me. And I am actually turning that off after a decade. What?
No, it does.
That's
it does
huge.
link to the one as well, the song, because we've
does.
both said the one a few times, and it is just.
No, I'm sorry, but Folklore and Evermore are concerning albums with this context.
Yeah. I love what happens to the chorus after this bridge. That stripped back build back into it. It feels devastating. It feels a little bit broken after she's accepted that she's turning off this light, because even though she has accepted that, there's still that empty promise that she has to process. You said you're going to grow up and then you were going to come find me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels so fragile.
Yeah, it does.
You said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me. Said you were gonna grow up. You said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me. Said you were gonna grow up. You said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me. Said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me. Said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me. Words from the mouths of babes, promises, oceans deep, but never to keep.
I love how like enunciated some of the words are, like even the way she does the light and then deep. Like you're really hearing her finish
What she's saying.
the
So true.
words. No, it's in the piano. It's in the
is.
piano. Because she just strips it back to those few simple chords in that you said you were gonna grow up.
Yeah.
So fragile. And then there's a said you were gonna grow up.
And it builds
the
us back in
piano
so
just
perfectly.
keeps running.
Yeah. No, it really is so fucked up the way that she pauses.
Yes.
You said you were going to grow up. Like there's
Yeah.
one line where she
Yeah.
doesn't continue then you were going to come find me.
Yeah.
And it really is, again, emphasizes you were immature.
Literally, that
you
pause.
never grew up.
It reminds me of when she did Out of the Woods at the Grammy Museum.
Oh my God.
And then
Are we
after
out
the
of
bridge,
woods?
yeah. Are we out of the woods yet? Are we out of the woods? Are we in the clear yet?
That
That
performance is fucked
pause,
up.
oh my God. It actually is the same vibe that she's doing here after the bridge. I'm so sorry. She learned something from Out of the Woods. I know you didn't think that Peter and Out of the Woods were tied, but they are.
But they actually are. They are.
And then the flow. You said you were gonna grow up, then you were gonna come find me. Said you were gonna. No, it's the way it changes. The way
Yeah.
she's singing it has the flows and the ebbs and the switches. It's like she's about to run out of breath, and then she's like, and then you were gonna come find me. Oh my God, I can't.
Yeah.
I actually can't explain it. It's just perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, it is perfect. And after that bridge, we really don't need anything else but that chorus. And I know I've said many, many times that a Taylor Swift song that has a bridge and then a third verse, excellent. But we have no more need for anything else in this song.
No, 'cause she
it's
turned out the
actually
light.
perfect. She turned out the light. I'm just going to remind you again a few times why I've turned out the light, and then I'm going to end.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And like, I guess finishing it with like, you know, the promises, oceans deep, but never to keep. Like, that's that final, like, she knows that they're not going to come true.
Yeah.
They weren't ever to be kept.
Yeah. No, this is a top 5 song on Tortured Poets.
Mm-hmm. It simply is.
Lord help me knowing exactly where in that 5 it falls.
Yeah.
Because there's so many superior songs on this album, but this song, it is in there.
We're going to re-rank, guys, after we finish these breakdowns, which I'm sure you can guess what the next song is.
Yes, I think we're there now. We're there now. There's not many left.
But after that, we're going to re-rank and I guess talk about how the songs have changed for us. So that's going to be really fun and interesting to see what we do, because I can't even remember what our original ranking was.
Oh my God, no, I actually have no idea. And I'm not going to look either.
No.
Like, I just want to look at it with a fresh mind.
We'll compare.
We'll compare the
Once
pair.
we
Now that we're
finished.
almost a year on from this album coming out.
Oh God, it's taken us so long to talk about it.
Really, I can't
superior.
believe that this album came out in April last year.
Oh my God, thank God I've talked about Peter. Needed to seriously get that off the chest.
No,
Hopefully
truly.
you guys understand how fucking perfect this song is.
Yeah, it really is
Thank
perfect.
God we have it. It's just so emotional, that bridge. I actually, every single time it really gets me.
Yeah, it's a perfect song.
Waltz, it's just absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, I hope you guys loved this. Let us know your thoughts down below. And we'll see you soon for one last breakdown.
So upsetting. But anyway, we will see you soon for that. Love you guys. Bye.